The night the screams began, Gumala Pur was a small village surrounded by thick forest and rocky hills. Life there followed the rhythm of the jungle. People returned home before sunset, knowing the forest belonged to something far older and far more dangerous. One night, that danger crossed the boundary. A young man named Ravi was returning late from a nearby field. The moon was high, but the forest paths were dark and silent. Suddenly, a scream echoed through the village, sharp, desperate, and cut short. By morning, Ravi was found near a dry stream. His body was torn open. Deep claw marks covered his chest, and his neck had been crushed with terrifying force. The ground around him was soaked in blood. The elders whispered a single word in fear: panther. But what terrified them most was not the killing, it was where it happened. The attack had taken place dangerously close to the village. Panthers were known to stay hidden, avoiding humans whenever possible. This one did not. Over the next few nights, villagers heard heavy footsteps near their homes. Goats went missing. Scratch marks appeared on mud walls. Children were kept indoors, and fires burned all night to keep the darkness away. Something was watching Gumala Pur from the shadows, and it was only the beginning. After Ravi's death, fear settled permanently over Gumala Pur. No one walked alone after sunset. Even in daylight, people kept looking over their shoulders. The forest felt closer now, as if it had moved nearer to the village during the night. Then the panther struck again. A woman fetching water before dawn was attacked near the well. Villagers heard her scream, but by the time they arrived, it was over. Her body lay near the path, her neck broken, deep bite marks visible. The panther had killed quickly and vanished without a sound. This behavior shocked everyone. Panthers usually drag their prey into the forest. This one killed and left the body behind. Forest officials arrived and studied the scene. The claw marks were wide and powerful. The bite was precise, aimed at the throat. The panther was experienced, old, intelligent, and fearless. Over the next few nights, the village became a prison. Fires burned constantly. Drums were beaten to scare the animal away. Still, scratch marks appeared on doors. Footprints were found just outside huts. One night, a group of men guarded the village edge together. They believed numbers meant safety. They were wrong. Out of the darkness, the panther exploded forward. One man was knocked to the ground instantly. Its jaws closed around his neck, and his scream was cut short. Before anyone could react, the panther dragged the body into the bushes and disappeared. Only blood remained. By now, there was no doubt. This was not a panther hunting by instinct. This was a man-eater, and it had learned that humans in Gumala Pur were easy prey. Gumala Pur was no longer a village. It was a place under siege. No one slept properly. Fires burned all night. Men guarded the outskirts with torches and weapons, their hands shaking with fear. The panther had become fearless. It attacked without warning and disappeared like smoke. Forest officials finally called an experienced hunter. He studied the attacks carefully and reached a chilling conclusion. The panther was old and injured. One of its canines was broken. It could no longer hunt deer or smaller animals efficiently. Humans, slow, predictable, unarmed, had become its easiest prey. The final hunt was planned near a narrow forest path where most attacks had occurred. That night, the jungle was unnaturally silent. Hours passed. Then, soft footsteps, controlled breathing. Two glowing eyes appeared low in the darkness. The panther moved like a shadow. As it stepped closer to the bait, the hunter fired. The first shot wounded it. The panther let out a terrifying scream, half rage, half pain, and charged forward. The hunter fired again. The bullet struck deep. The panther collapsed, its body shaking violently before finally going still. At dawn, villagers gathered at a distance. The panther lay lifeless, scarred, thin, its broken teeth clearly visible. The truth was undeniable. This was not evil. This was survival turned deadly. Life slowly returned to Gumala Pur, but the fear never fully left. Even today, elders warn children to return home before sunset. Because the village learned a lesson written in blood, not all monsters roar. Some move silently in the dark and strike when you feel safest. What happened in Gumala Pur was not an accident. Leopards normally avoid humans. They are silent hunters of the forest, not killers of villages. So why did the panther of Gumala Pur turn into a man-eater? The reason is survival. Most man-eating leopards are old or injured. Broken teeth, damaged jaws, or weak limbs make it impossible for them to hunt fast prey like deer. Humans, slow and unprotected, become the easiest target. Another reason is habitat loss. When forests shrink and villages expand, leopards are forced to live closer to people. Over time, they learn human routines, paths, sleeping hours, and blind spots. Once a leopard successfully kills a human, it learns a dangerous truth: humans are easy prey. And that single lesson can turn a silent predator into a man-eater. The tragedy of Gumala Pur reminds us that wildlife conflicts are often created by pain, hunger, and human interference, not pure evil. If this story made you think, helped you understand, or sent chills down your spine, make sure to like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more true jungle horror stories and real wildlife mysteries. And remember, respect the forest, because what it creates to survive, it never forgets.